Stress, the theories, the effects, and the impact. What is stress? Stress is a normal reaction to everyday pressures, but can become unhealthy when it upsets your day-to-day functioning. It's a complex interaction between the environment and the body's physical reactions. Stress involves changes affecting nearly every system of the body, influencing how people feel and behave. Theories of stress. There are a lot of different ways to define stress depending on the psychological perspective that you're using. The biological perspective is that it is simply an activation of the sympathetic nervous system, while the humanistic one is stress is when obstacles block us from growing and becoming.
Sellier's general adaptation theory. Hans Selye. Hans Selye was the founder of the stress theory, and he defined stress as a stimulus that produces a physiological response. It has been determined by him that not only can negative situations impact stress, but so can positive situations. This explains how stress can present itself in many different forms. For example, a negative example would be the stress you feel from having a lot of homework or the act of doing this assignment. Then, a positive example is when you're given some big news, like a college acceptance. Additionally, Hans Selye is more well known for being the creator of the general adaptation syndrome model. This model is used to describe the timeline of ways stress impacts the body through 3 phases. These phases are alarm, resistance, and exhaustion. Phase 1, alarm, is when a threat is recognized and your body goes into a flight or fight response. Then the second phase is resistance, where our body has experienced such long-term stress and our body still has an elevated physiological response, but it's able to function and do daily tasks. The third and final phase is exhaustion. This is when our body's resources become so run down that it increases our chances of illness. Lewin's motivational conflicts theory. Approach avoidance. This is when an individual is both interested but also uninterested with the goal, due to pros and cons. Essentially, there are both positive and negative components impacting their decision. An example would be deciding whether to move or not, because the positive effects are being able to create new memories and live a life in a different area. But the negatives are leaving behind friends and family and memories that you may have made there. Avoidance. This is when an individual is forced to make a decision where both choices are negative, so they sometimes choose to avoid making the decision altogether. An example of this would be deciding between whether doing your homework or just getting a bad grade. Therefore, according to Lewin's motivational theory, conflicts between undesirable alternatives, which are avoidance conflicts, are more difficult to resolve than conflicts between desirable alternatives, approach conflicts.
Effects of stress. Psychological well-being. Stress has a big influence on cognitive performance and psychological health. It's associated with cognitive disabilities and can influence an individual's memory. Long-term effects of stress can impair memory and suppress the immune system. Stress can play a factor in the manifestation of a variety of psychological disorders. It can contribute to the development of an anxiety disorder. Depression can be induced by a stressful situation or experience. Chronic stress leads to a reduction in the neurotransmitter serotonin, which is linked with depression. Stress-related illnesses are linked to substance abuse disorders and eating disorders. Physical well-being. Stress affects all systems of the body, including the muscular, skeleton, respiratory, cardiovascular, endocrine, gastrointestinal, nervous, and reproductive systems. When the body is stressed, muscles tense up. This is a reaction to stress, the body's way of guarding against injury and pain. Chronic stress causes the muscles in the body to be in constant state of guardedness. Tension and migraine headaches are associated with chronic muscle tension. Stress can present itself with respiratory systems such as shortness of breath and rapid breathing. This can bring on panic attacks in individuals who are prone to them. Stress causes an increase in heart rate and stress hormones. Chronic stress can contribute to long-term problems for the heart and blood vessels. Types of stress. The general types of stress are environmental, which is any stress caused by the physical or social environment; pressure, stress created from the demands or expectations to perform or conform; catastrophes, major life events; daily hassles and frustrations; and anticipatory stress. Eustress and distress. Eustress is a positive stress response. You have some aspect of choice, even if you don't like all of it, you like some of it. It requires mental, emotional, and physical resources to deal with, and it can add value even if it requires work and takes resources. Distress is the negative stress response, where you have little to no aspect of choice, it's unpredictable, not easily controlled, and it requires mental, emotional, and physical resources to deal with. It does not add value to your life. Stressors are things that cause stress, and they can be positive or negative. Mediators are things that help us cope with the stress we have in our lives. Ways to cope with stress. There are two main ways of coping with stress: problem-focused and emotion-focused. Problem-focused is seeing stress as a problem to be solved and working solutions until a proper solution is found. It's outward focused. A solution will eliminate the source of stress and is long term. Emotion focused includes meditation or taking medication to reduce stressful emotional responses. It is inward focused and short term. To handle stress positively, focus on maintaining a healthy lifestyle in many ways, such as eating well, getting enough sleep, exercising, or taking time for relaxing activities. If stress becomes unmanageable, consider seeking professional help.